News Now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin the Fox 61 News at 6, staying on top of breaking news. A construction worker hit and killed in Hartford just a few hours ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. West Boulevard is still closed tonight. Fox 61's Emma Wolforst is there now, and she joins us live. Emma, what's the latest?
Well, Sarah, Brent, the law enforcement presence has definitely died down here in the last hour, but still just a really sad scene. You can see behind me the caution tape and that smashed vehicle. This road still closed tonight, as you said, here on West Boulevard in Hartford. This investigation is still ongoing, but what we do know about what happened this afternoon, just after 12 p.m., a vehicle was traveling at a very high rate of speed westbound on West Boulevard. It struck some of the construction equipment, hit the construction worker, and then hit a dump truck. The car became disabled. The driver of that vehicle is in custody tonight and is speaking with police. Officials tell us there were two other people in that car. They were taken to a hospital for evaluation of non-life-threatening injuries. We know this construction worker who was killed was a man in his 50s. He was privately contracted by MDC for this project. He was pronounced dead on the scene.
Terrible incident. We all see it all the time. You know, we see it on the highways, we see it on local roads, even private people, not just the police see it. You know, people are fed up with it. You know, it's happening all over the place.
Officials say the construction crew in the roadway was working on a trench. They say there were road signs and a flagger there directing traffic, but the driver went right through the crew. Boyceford telling me, quote, the car came very fast. Though this construction worker was not with the state, we know accidents like this are an ongoing issue. Connecticut DOT has been working to implement speed cameras at their construction sites to try and crack down on reckless drivers and keep their workers safe. As we said, this road is still closed tonight, and this closure could last for quite a while, possibly even days. According to officials, as we said, this investigation is still ongoing. Even once that wraps up, the construction work then still needs to be finished. So if you're going to be traveling tonight in this area in Hartford of West Boulevard and Sisson Avenue down there, try to maybe find an alternate route, take some back roads, or be prepared for some traffic as cars are rerouted around this area. Live tonight in Hartford, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Emma, thank you. Also tonight, two people are seriously hurt after they were hit by a vehicle in Vernon this morning. It happened on Warren Avenue around 10:30 a.m. Two Lifestar helicopters were called in to rush the victims to the hospital. We have no word yet on how those victims are doing tonight or what led up to the crash.
A fallen police officer from Minneapolis who was born and raised here in Connecticut is back home. About 30 minutes ago, a procession left Bradley International Airport. The body of Officer Jamal Mitchell is being escorted to a funeral home in New Haven. Officer Mitchell was responding to a call for help last month. Police say he was ambushed and shot. Mitchell was from New Haven and went to Wilbur-Cross High School. Most of his family still lives here, including his cousin, retired New Haven police officer Robin Higgins, the wife of the police commissioner. Shortly before the procession, we spoke with the commissioner.
Jamal answered the call. He had moved from Connecticut to Minnesota and to Minneapolis, and he wanted to be the change. He wanted to be a part of the change. And he made a change in a really short period of time. He made a significant impact. 3 days as a Minneapolis police officer, and he ran in and saved the lives of two elderly people.
Along Route 91, this is taking a live look now where those first responders are lining up to honor Officer Mitchell. This is a live look from our traffic camera in Middletown, where you can see fire trucks set up on the overpass. Quite an emotional scene. We have a live look at the funeral home now in New Haven, where Officer Mitchell's body will stay until the funeral on Monday. We'll check in with our crew later, who's speaking with people gathered to honor the officer. We'll have that update coming up at 6:30. Quite an emotional couple of weeks for police officers. Yeah. Well, today, after 4 people in Bridgeport were arrested for alleged election fraud, there's been fallout and reaction pouring in.
Yeah, 2 of those people are public officials, Bridgeport City Councilor Alfredo Castillo and the Vice Chair of Bridgeport's Democratic Party, Wanda Jeter-Pataki, and she, of course, the one who was first seen on surveillance video, possibly stuffing absentee ballots this past election.
At an event today, reporters asked Governor Lamont if Wanda should step down from her leadership role. Take a listen to his response.
I think she should step down.
If she won't step down, should the Democratic Party remove her?
I would think so.
Are you going to ask them to do that?
Hope they do the right thing.
Well, tonight we are diving deeper into the arrest warrant affidavits and booking photos of Wanda Jeter-Pataki and 3 other campaign operatives. So Matt Karen joins us now. And Matt, what do the documents tell us?
Well, Brent, they tell us that the Bridgeport city worker and vice chair of the Democratic Town Committee, who you just saw, Wanda Jeter, is charged with 4 Class D felonies. Those are the least serious class of felonies, but they are felonies nonetheless. And the details of them, well, they're all spelled out here in the arrest warrant. This is the document that started it all. 2019. An investigative referral from then Secretary of the State Denise Merrill to the State Elections Enforcement Commission. 5 years later, arrests. These are the booking photos. Should it have taken 5 years?
It's not acceptable to me that it takes this long for justice to be served. And it makes you question how long it's going to take to investigate and ultimately prosecute what occurred blatantly red-handed on camera this past summer.
The 2023 ballot drop box surveillance video of Wanda Jeter is part of a separate investigation, which so far has not led to any arrests. New in the last 24 hours, Fox 61 obtained the arrest warrant affidavit for Wanda Jeter, outlining those 2019 allegations. We learned investigators examined absentee ballots, surveillance video from Bridgeport Senior Housing, and used witness interviews as evidence to make the arrests. A voter who didn't request an absentee ballot told investigators, "Wanda came to my house and told me only to sign the bottom of the blank application." She went on to say, "I have done this with Wanda over the past 10 years. The voter went on to tell investigators, "I told her I thought I should vote in person. Wanda said no."
So we're going to hold people accountable.
But Governor Lamont, along with the majority of members of Connecticut's congressional delegation, rushed to endorse Joe Ganim for mayor.
I don't think, look, he's not being charged.
Basically, they shoved it in our face. We don't care about your vote. This is our man.
Black Lives Matter 860 released a statement saying, in part, Connecticut Democrats have turned a blind eye, even with video evidence, to the disenfranchisement of black voters in the city of Bridgeport.
Black voters were disenfranchised via election fraud. And this is going to have a nationwide effect on our rights. If he really respected and valued our votes, he would make sure that it's 1 vote per person and that they're not forced into ballot harvesting.
And just yesterday, Governor Lamont did sign a bill into law that makes sure the State Elections Enforcement Commission completes any investigations within 90 days. But it's not retroactive, so it doesn't apply to that 2023 Bridgeport investigation. The law also requires cameras at absentee ballot drop boxes. Now, that may catch a criminal, but it didn't do anything to deter the activity we all saw on video in Bridgeport. And in November, voters here in Connecticut will get to weigh in on a proposed constitutional amendment that, if approved, would allow any voter to get an absentee ballot for any reason. In the studio, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Matt. Well, there was a timely election security emergency drill today, something the state does regularly ahead of voting. But Bridgeport was certainly on their minds. The exercise brings together election officials from all over, local, state, and federal. They work and talk through simulations of real-world election scenarios, like white powder found at a polling place, something that has happened in other states, or a ballot box catching on fire. They also worked on cybersecurity today, but mentioned it's not much of a concern here in Connecticut since we still use the gold standard, paper ballots.
Well, 2 Ansonia men face animal cruelty charges tonight. Police say they found more than a dozen dogs and cats in their home that needed serious medical attention.
One of them was dead. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc is outside Ansonia Police Department with the details on the case. Julia.
Very sad that it even happened.
Ansonia neighbors Sandy and Pat are appalled after learning what police say happened a few doors down from their home.
I'll just see his cars coming and going all day, all night. Really strange. You don't see him taking I've never seen him take a dog out for a walk or anything.
Police say on June 6th, they came to this house on Condon Drive for a search warrant in an unrelated criminal investigation. That's when they found 3 cats and 11 dogs. One of them was dead, while the others were emaciated and rushed to an emergency animal clinic. Police say 2 Rottweiler puppies had to be put down, diagnosed with parvovirus. The others are still being treated.
You know, it's unfortunate because those poor animals, you know, with them having to euthanize a couple of them.
Police arrested 2 men at the home, 30-year-old Javon Coverson and 26-year-old Asante Coverson, both charged with animal cruelty, failure to comply with dog ownership requirements, and failure to comply with rabies control ordinances.
Connecticut has seen everything lately with animals. There is so much abuse.
Linda Pleva follows arrests like this through her work with Desmond's Army. She remembers a time when they only had a handful of animal abuse cases a month.
And now we have 60 to 70 cases a month.
Almost all of which don't end in jail time.
People are led to believe that it's okay because there's no repercussions, there's no punishments.
Something neighbors hope doesn't happen here. They say police have been to this home in the past, and in one case, Sandy had to make the call.
I made one phone call, and it had to have been about maybe 5 years ago that I thought they were running a puppy mill.
An allegation they couldn't prove, though police responded. Sandy says nothing came of it until now.
I certainly hope not just a slap on the hand. I hope it's a little bit more of a punishment so that they don't go back to doing it again.
Now, as for the suspects, each of them have court dates in Derby later this month. Now, because of this ongoing criminal investigation, police are not able to answer questions as to what that original search warrant was for. We're here in Ansonia. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.